Kopi Dulu, friends. It's our psychic weather forecast for the first week of summer 2025. Brian Noe with you from Cards of Light with the Sunday morning spread for June 22nd, 2025. Thanks for joining me once again at my tarot table. Let's take just a moment, as we like to do, get centered in the body, get our minds still here. Just a few soft breaths before we cut the cards. That is the moment that when I look at the analytics for these videos on YouTube, that is where everybody goes, nope, had enough, and kind of checks out. But it is such an important part of the practice that I refuse to stop doing it. Okay. Looking at the 4 dimensions of life again this week with the Thoth deck. And in the physical dimension, we have the Ace of Wands getting us started. Social emotional, we have the Empress. In the mental dimension, we have Fortune. That card came up on Thursday as well, and it's come up in daily draws a lot lately. And up here in the spiritual dimension, we have the 9 of Wands. So 2 cards from the suit of Wands and 2 majors this time around for our Sunday morning spread. We will take these one at a time, if that's all right. Over here in the physical dimension, we have the Ace of Wands. This is the card of sort of the idea of things, or the primal impetus of things before they become manifest in what we experience as material reality. This is the card of a spark of imagination. It is the card of virility, coming as it does in the physical dimension here. I think we need to take a look at our physical health. I would say that if you haven't had an annual physical for a while and you're able to get that scheduled before long here, this is a good week to take care of that. Not necessarily, you probably won't get in this week, but it's a good idea to at least get that scheduled. Let them run you through the battery of tests that they do and everything, just to make sure everything is that there's no warning signs of anything that you need to attend. At least that's my intuitive hit on what this card means. That if we haven't been taking care of that, that is a good thing to maybe get in place this week. Also, if we're not currently doing any kind of regular physical exercise program or activity, this would be a good week to start that. And if we don't have some sort of regular savings going on in the financial aspects of our lives, this would be a good week, if possible, to get that in place as well, even if it's $5, $10 a week, sticking it away somewhere. It adds up over the long haul, especially if you are young. So that's the way I would see that one. Okay, over here in the social emotional dimension, we have the Empress. And this card is the card of creativity. It is the card of that nurturing feminine energy. It is the card of, I like to think of it anyway, as the card of being out in nature. And as we enter this first week of summer, it's going to be hot where I live here in the Chicago Southland in the U.S., but if we've got a chance to get outside, get in the sunshine, get in the fresh air, spend some time with our feet directly on the ground, barefoot walking in the park, that sort of thing, it would be a really good idea to do that. At least a few times a week for 10, 15 minutes. just being outside, even if we're not too terribly active about it, at least being out in the fresh air and sunshine and green spaces if we have an opportunity to do that. And that will help both with our emotional well-being and socially as well. We can get out in spaces, see other people, and even if we don't interact that much, that is usually a good thing to do. I like to people watch. I don't know about you, but okay. Fortune up here in the mental dimension. And as we've talked about over and over with this card, it is about things always changing in what we experience here in the material world. We may think things are settled and that things are stable, and they may feel that way to us, but in reality, things are always changing. You know, they say you can't step in the same river twice. Our own bodies, every cell in our body is different than it was a decade ago. And so we need to accept that as the rule here in this material world. And as I've said before, the way we deal with that, if that is somehow frightening or off-putting or throws us off kilter, is to hold to this still point in the center where everything is still. It is eternal and perfect and unchanging. And the way that we get there is through spiritual practice. Since this is coming in the mental dimension of our lives, this week in this upper left quadrant of our card spread, to me, that is saying that we need to focus on some sort of practice that gets our mind still. And for me, the two best methods for that are meditation involving breath practice and meditation involving chanting a mantra, either silently or aloud with a japa mala, or sometimes even singing the mantras in kirtan and that kind of thing. But something that moves us into that silent space where we can abide for a little while between thoughts, where we can be in this vast, open, thoughtless space, even if it's just for a few seconds now and then. The more often we do it, the more we're training our minds to do that. So super important this week. If you don't have a meditation practice, I would highly recommend taking it up. I linked to an article about this on Thursday's video description, but I will also link it here in the description box if you would like to pop out and take a look at that. Talks a little bit about what meditation is, but also how to get started and simple practices that we can begin to do in just a very, very short time each day that begin to bring our mind into that still space. Okay, and up here in the spiritual dimension, we have the Nine of Wands. And this card is styled Strength in the Thoth deck. And it is the card of feeling maybe beleaguered, feeling like we just don't have the will or the strength to go on. What this card tells us is that we do. We're still here. We are still, as long as we are here, then there is still hope. We still have got options. No matter how dark it seems, no matter how up against the wall we may feel, there is a way forward. And part of knowing that way forward is getting our mind still. And listening to that small, quiet voice within us that is wise and knows not only where we've been, but where we're headed and can guide us. So look to inner guidance this week and hang in there. This card came up a lot for me during the long days of the first pandemic year. And when it turned up, I always thought, okay, we're still here. So let's keep moving forward. I think that is the way that I would see these. Do try to get out in the sunshine and fresh air this week, and do check out that article about meditation if you would. I'd love to hear what you think if you take a look at that. If you've got other thoughts on these cards or questions, either about this spread or about this deck or about the process of reading tarot, please do get in touch. You can leave comments here with the video, or you can visit the weblog at atarotjourney.com. You'll find my contact information there as well. We will be back Thursday of this week. Not so sure we'll be with you Sunday because I'm going to be out of town, but I will at least get a 3-card Thursday in towards the end of this week for next weekend. And also, I'm still doing the daily shorts with my daily draw here on YouTube Shorts. So check that out. See what else the channel's got to offer. If you wouldn't mind, before you go, to like this video, I'd appreciate it. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't. We will see you soon. And in the meantime, I wish you peace. Take care.